Okay, welcome everyone to Cosmic Starseed Academy. Today's date is the 4th of August 2025, and it is 7:25 p.m. here in Ireland. You're joined by myself, Soma Arah, Sean Bond, Syren Wind, and Amaria Sweet, or Rogue Dragon. So, we all met at the recent Full Disclosure Now conference in July in Florida. That was really amazing. I hadn't expected it to be such a transformation for me. And one of my first questions to everyone is, how did you find the conference? And because it's been advertised or portrayed as a movement, and I really feel that that's what it is, and is really becoming more of that as the years go by and more and each year unfolds. I really feel it's more of a movement, and the energy for me was off the scale. I really a lot of the time I felt like I was in 5D. So one of my first questions to everyone, and it is a round table, so we get to go around the table. But one of my first questions is, how did you find the conference, and how are you now? And what was it transformative for you? I don't know who would like to go first.
Ladies first. Ladies first.
I'll I'll start. So, um, I've been kind of in the shadows since about 2020. There was kind of some feathers that got ruffled with some people in the community. We had some clashing. I outed somebody that I was actually kind of involved with emotionally, and that person went behind my back. He knew a lot of my clients and basically was telling them different things that were falsehoods about myself. I didn't know that he had did that. Just all of a sudden my client base just stopped and almost lost my house. It was pretty frustrating. There was another one that had happened after the FBI, the CPS, Child Protective Service, and the police came to my door telling me if I didn't have a certain video removed from the internet that they were going to take my children. And then that person was pretty upset because it happened to involve that person's webcast. And so I've been trying to clear my name by showing, because understanding, having been religious, having had a spiritual background, if you really want to know and understand somebody, you look at their fruits by their labors. What are they doing? And so I wanted to reach out to different people in the community and say, I want to give you a session to show you what I do. And I have no expectations, but to just show you who I am. And Brian happened to be on the list. Brian Zhang did the session. It turned out wonderful, just like I expected it to. And immediately he's like, oh my God, I've been wanting to talk to you. Let's do a show. And so we did a couple of shows. And I've been focusing, rather than talking about things in the programs that happen to us, what are we doing now? And as an NLP practitioner, a wellness coach, holistic practitioner, I work with people and their traumas, and they help people to integrate. I also lead a sound bath here in Murray, Utah, every other Friday, and work with people energetically as a psionic. Sean and I share some of those gifts, which is really cool. And I work with the Christos in a different way that I guess a lot of people do. I'm taking myself back to my Egyptian roots. I remember my past lifetimes in Egypt in the halls of Amenti, and in the programs that I was in as a medic. And then, of course, growing up, my dad's a physician, my mom's a nurse. I was a pre-med student. I had to quit school because I was raising kids and I was very ill physically, but I never stopped learning. I've always been practicing. getting, working with my NLP certificate, just learning different types of coaching techniques, doing it on myself. I've come from being very unstable emotionally. I've attempted suicide twice, succeeded once, and was sent back. I've had multiple near-death experiences because of health issues. I understand trauma on a level that a lot of people don't. And walking the middle path, the Christos that I talk about, there's a pinned on my Facebook page. It talks about it. It's basically moving that cerebral spinal fluid using different tonal type of things with my own body, that toning resonance, meditation, hemisync, and just putting into practice what I do with other people, I do with myself. I've been doing it since I was about 3 years old, and I just turned 49 in July, so I guess I have a couple of years of experience, and I enjoy doing it. And the opportunity was there, and I took that bull by the horns, and here we are.
And how are you since the conference? And did you find this year better than your last experience? Has it been
I feel
transformative
so
for
much
you?
better.
Yeah.
I feel so much better. I actually was on the Tesla med bed for about an hour and 15 minutes, and I've been doing the what do you call it? It's the little piece, masterpiece. I'm like trying to remember the name of it. I call it my sewer water because it tastes terrible, but I can tell a difference. I'm sleeping better. I was having a lot of issues with heavy metal poisoning, especially with aluminum, because I was testing about 25 ppm in my urine. Now I'm having more energy. I'm sleeping better. My visions are more clear again. My session work is even sharper. And so, I mean, it's been great. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Syren, so the same questions to you.
Could you just repeat one more time, please?
Yeah. So I found, so did you find the conference transformative? Did you find that you were in a 5D energy? And how are you since the conference? Because to me, it feels like it's a reuniting of people and a movement more than just a conference. I really do feel that and felt that when I was there.
Yeah, I felt that before actually going that it was going to be there would be people from different times or different lifetimes that would be connecting, reconnecting to fulfill whatever the next, components of the mission in whatever ways they have, woven before. So I was feeling that before I came, but it was a lot more magnitude um, than you could really perceive, prior to, in the way that it seems like how it was how it was connecting other people from these other times. Like even as I was watching that, not necessarily people that I knew, but watching that was even activating for me to watch the like cohesion and the magnitude of what the conference was bringing together, which is the mere basis point, is how it feels of starting to get people together, and the communities and the co-creation that come from there. But also for me too is that like I've been weaving and working very deeply, like mostly solitary my whole life. And I've been getting this like very strong message for the longest while, last probably, I mean, I could say longest while, but like probably 5 years, like, there's things that I need to, be forefront and share and do in certain ways. And I kept feeling like it was this soon coming later experience. And for me, it felt very transformative where, um, you know, connecting with those that I did instantly remember, like instantly remember was huge opening of connecting the
Mm.
next like juncture points of what will be from then, you know, and so since then, which seems like it just seems like it's been a long time, um, since that since that time that, you know, was only a couple weeks ago, but it seems like there's been so many openings since that point, you know, that have really come into expansion from the connections that were made. There was this UPS here. But so so to me, I guess it feels like it's the baby step point of what's next, but also watching who it's been weaving since then has been really inspiring because of there were so many connections that were made.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I'm Sean Bond, founder of Sonic League. Accumulate blueprints for to-do lists on how to reverse engineer superhuman abilities found around the planet and a growing group all around the planet. And I met Brian a while ago when he was first coming out, and I did sessions with him. And we also went to the Montauk reunion together, and so that was nice. A lot of remembering UFOs in a hot tub while we're shining the lasers, a lot of ET communication, clearing these big apex multidimensional predators attached to the bases, getting soul parts, freeing ghosts, all that. And he says something about like I'm like one of the first he like contacted about the things, and then reading into his abduction history. So I help him like want to come out into this world. It's like, you know, coming bravery, become who you are, believe in yourself. And he's just taken off like a rocket. So I love him. It's beautiful. So he's like bringing all the soul family together, people that have known each other for many lifetimes, like us all with Palladian, Pallades, the Lemurian psionic defense systems, the beginning of Egypt, uh, branching off versions of herself as orcas, mer people, dragons, fae, some other things. Yeah, as an example. And yeah, it's a big family that's coming together and strengthening each other, trading, commerce, building the fortress that maintains safety of the masculine to allow the feminine to birth new divinity into this world and light shine and create constructs with that can hold higher frequencies such as 5D and other things in consciousness to direct manifest is a big collective consciousness of higher selves unified together as a positive egregore that pushes disclosure and is pulling on the tug of war battle it closer to us than the things that want to pull it back and delay it. So all you beautiful people coming together and bringing your codes and your puzzle pieces and increasing the family network that grows this disclosure and combats disunity, and we all share our truths together and we find out the ultimate overarching all perspective truth that is hidden under and it's hard to reach from us all talking. So I love it. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Very well said. The first time I met Laura Eisenhower, it was in an interview, and I saw an image of her on a ship, and maybe not even on a ship, but she was up in space, and there was a group of people, a circle of people coming down to the earth. And I could see her and other people, and I think that it includes us. I think it feels like it includes us. It was a lot of people. It wasn't just a few people. And I think as we I just see the whole thing really growing. And that was something they were saying to me just now, to say is that, because I don't always channel with my eyes closed, but they were saying that each of us within that group of people that are here to help wake humanity up this time, each of us has unique fingerprints and DNA codes. So we each have different modalities and subjects, but we are part of a group that has known each other for lifetimes. And I see the foundation of it being Atlantis. It was probably before that as well, but I just feel that each of us really brings something unique in our modalities. And it can even be more than one thing, but I don't know. Do you guys feel any of that, or?
Yeah, I do for sure. I think that's what, especially in this like juncture where everything is shifting through the collapse and restructure and rebuild, is like this is the time that those that have those more organizer type, bringing people together like energies, and that's a unique ability too, to be an organizer and creator of events and inspirational energy and, magnitude to weave between all these different specialties. Like that's part of the unique gift that is helping everybody come together also, because we each do have this unique facet or facets to bring to this reweaving of the tapestry. And this has been feeling like for the last probably 5 years, to me anyways, that this is the beginning juncture point of those things to implement that have been trying to be delayed for so long, um
Yeah,
and
that's the group.
yeah, right,
On
yeah, that,
Sean's
yeah,
image.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it. That group, exactly. And that's the thing, is that like what I feel in the energy, and the energy that was brought through the conference, especially, is that what it's done is brought that intensity of everyone's unique facet to amplify in that one space and continue to ripple on, like the photo of what we all had remembered in different ways, or are remembering now, of what the promises are that we made or were when we did the other times that we were wherever we were. So it it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I'm very visual, so I do get a lot of images like that. Um, so my next question,
Yeah, it's really cool.
sorry, go on.
Oh no, I said that's very similar for myself, like imagery wise, and like the memories from those ancient times. Like I've always felt really connected to Lemuria and Mu, as well as ancient Egypt. And so it's interesting how they all tie in with like the Atlantis, and I mean so many different beautiful cultures and star families. That's really cool.
Yeah, I know. And um, yeah. And I think sometimes what a lot of the audience, perhaps I'm wrong, but I think sometimes what a lot of the audience doesn't realize is the the journey we've had to get up onto that stage has been rife with targeting and negative experience and all of that stuff by the three-letter agencies and all of the black ops and all of that stuff, and Voice to Skull, and um it's so I think I don't even know if more of that stuff needs to be shared, because that's going into the darker agendas, which kind of
I
shifts the
think
energy. But
acknowledging it's okay. If we're acknowledging that it's happened, we don't consent, and just, return to universe. We're doing our mission anyway. They're not going to stop us. They can't stop us. They have their free will and their right to self-determine, but they don't have a right to do their war games. And so they have to move on.
And
That's
we
the
can
way I
use
see
it
it.
as it's all a challenge, because they're not gonna stop. So it's, we have to stop them. So it's a good opportunity to train our psionic abilities. I've been similar with, Rogue Dragon into
100%.
they try to kill me and stop my heart and stab and all send a lot of headaches and stress and all that. All of it is a type of energy, whether it be from a sonic individual or AI or a machine or a sonic being amplified by a machine. It's all energy, and it's as it's entangling with you, it has a strand that connects of a current that you can then any challenge that you're overcoming, the universe grants you enough power to overcome it. And then you reach deep inside yourself and grab it out. And then you practice an ability to stop the incursion and violation of your free will. And, there's various ways people have made that. So there's all kinds of cool stuff like overload or redirecting or overwhelming them with love or light or dark method, depending on what you're dealing with and what you're capable of erupting from yourself, and then turning on your sonic abilities. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, like with this thing, yeah, I feel that with you guys. So, yeah,
Heck
a bit
yeah.
like a
Some
baby,
of us
everyone
like to
hugging
sharpen our
Earth kind
dragon teeth a little bit on occasion.
of.
It's
Sending
all
the
right. I'll let
forces.
you do all the love and light, Soma, and I'll go bite them in the ass for you.
But the thing is, I do both. People,
Good.
I think,
Yes, that's what I like to
yeah,
hear, Mama.
It's a loving bite in the
you
ass.
know, I
Hell
have a
yeah.
lot,
Lots of things.
yeah, I have a lot of Lyran energy, so um so that's about stepping into both, is being loving when you're looking after the cubs, and then knowing
Yeah.
when to be the hunter as well, so
Tough love.
100%.
Love also
Yes.
can
Au-
generate
That's
destruction
authentic right there.
and
I love
offense.
that. That's so authentic. So authentic. Love it.
I'm just gonna love you to death. Yeah.
yeah.
The Bugs Bunny with George. I'm gonna squeeze him and love him and name him George.
Oh no, he's dead, George.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm gonna name all my demons George now.
George.
Let's go get George.
Yeah.
Oh God, I
Just
love
look
it.
at the pretty flowers.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, like so many people, we're all adding a piece of disclosure that we've gleaned through the veils that we've had disperse as we're facing the great unknown bravely. So it's like people understand their multidimensionality and that they're more than just what they are in their body. And a lot of people like you guys can barely fit in their body, but like, you can keep upgrading that. But then their spirit is so many other places and existing in avatars and higher dimensions and us naturally splitting off and creating multiple versions of ourselves that like exist and immigrate with us as we go to other planets. And we're coming from planets where we've had money experience, most of you and most of the people at the conference, and a lot of people on Earth are much older in the spirit than the planet, and sometimes even older than the universe and way going back farther. So then having all this experience on these different garden worlds of experience in different realms and dimensionalities, schools that they grow and learning what the planet knows best, what it needs, and solutions to bring it as we grow and ascend on those places, and then gain management status and authority and privileges with taking up responsibilities, then get the power. And then depending on which places you like, especially, and you have a lot of expression there, and then possibly ascending on other places, and then coming to Earth for whatever reason. There's a long list of reasons. that's more bigger than the horribleness. Is like worth it. And bringing what this planet needs and going through this school to be an elevated status that of capability that can change the whole multiverse, because the multiverse is all colliding here for a big experiment that affects everything. Where do you guys feel on that? And I don't, and if you want to cover other questions, feel free.
Like I was kind of saying a little bit earlier with some other people I've been talking with, I see it kind of like a grid, the time space area. I kind of chuckle at it because I'm like, it's like the etheric grid. But when I'm doing session work, a lot of times people say, you know, do you see anything from like soul family? And it's like I back up like remote viewing their Akasha only if you would see it as like a universe. And then you touch a point on that and it just like expands like a photograph. And then I could see, you know, this star family, or like there was somebody I did a reading yesterday, and I've seen several of them now, but it's like a lavender liger that comes from the Beliran group. And so it looks kind of like tiger stripes and stuff, but it has a mane like a lion, and then the tail has the little poof on it, and it's built and has the stature like a lion, but has the markings like a tiger, and they're lavender colored. There's a lot of white and cream color in their mane. It's really beautiful, but they're very
Those
noble beings.
backgrounds.
And those have been standing out to me lately, the lavender ligers, as they call them. But yeah, it's totally like that. Like you see different points coming together, because I think that many of us have been, like you're saying, around for so long that we're in this giant grid of time space going, oh yeah, I remember that. Let's go down and check it out and make sure it's working still, or, you know, however it is, because time doesn't exist. It's a holographic construct. It's just we happen to be experiencing it right now. But we can also go on the astral and psionically or remote viewing or whatever and go visit another time. And we have that ability to tap into all of those lives, all of that wisdom, and be able to glean those abilities. So I really like that you bring that up, Sean, because it's so important for people to realize that just because we happen to be talking here on this group doesn't mean that anyone that's listening hasn't been to those points. And so never sell yourself short. You know, don't be on the ego side of, well, I'm God's child, and you know, there's enough religion doing that crap. But, you know, realizing, wow, I really am awesome. Stand in that power. Let's grab it, you know, and just do it and believe in yourself. We all have shitty days. That's life. But then what can you do as that is happening and unfolding to step back and look, okay, what am I learning? What am I being reminded of? How can I be more prepared so I can be able to deal, you know, what are my tools? We all have those things. And, you know, each and every one of you that are listening, you're here for a reason, and you're remembering, you know, and all of us are a part of that rainbow warrior prophecy that, you know, even the natives talked about. We're all a part of this. And it's so beautiful. I'm really loving it. Just seeing the different aspects and twists that everybody has. Syren, I actually wanted
Like the grid.
to point out really quick on that grid of knowledge as we come together. Her book, the one that talks about the Arcturian codes, actually matches a vision I had had about 4 years ago, that I had seen a portal open and saw all these little type of like glyphs, I guess you could call them. And I wrote it down on my hand and took a picture of it. I could send it to you, Soma, if you'd like it to edit for your
Yes,
video.
yes, please.
But one of Syren's pages stood out, and several of those little things matched, and I'm like, what? Just mind blown. That's amazing. So the stuff that people are doing and that they're writing down is beautiful. I see Christy Campbell doing it when she was drawing in the sand, and she draws the beautiful little things on her arm. it's really cool seeing these codes come out and actually being recorded. It's really super cool.
It is, and I think it's part of our unique fingerprints.
Well, the codes and the keys and all of the information that we carry within us, we're bringing that out all the time. We're emitting, our energy all the time. But when we're bringing it like actually like physically through, and like the way that I view and perceive like light codes, we're all light and everything is a code. So we're doing that all the time. And it's fascinating to learn about. Not everybody has that interest necessarily, but we are doing that. And if it comes through in this type of a way where it's the geometric form that can spark something within us or remind us of, say, a journey we had through like these nodes where everything intersects, the light intersects. And when I'm drawing these geometries, they're layers and layers of geometries that the nodes are like that meeting point or that portal or that intersecting weaving point where we all come together, where the information comes together, where the multidimensional layers come together, where it pivots and goes into another series of information or like whatever it is, a string of code. Like it's all so multifaceted the way that we are and how it comes through. And that's what too, like you were saying, about like seeing the codes and it being something that you wrote, like those things spark our ancient dormancies and our remembrances when we see that. Or we write something, say we're journaling, not really giving it a thought, but then we see something that goes even that layer further into our different life that we've had or are parallelly having some moment of to connect those nodes or bring back I sometimes say particles, like if you're getting particles of information from a different lifetime or timeline, and then you're assembling them in this one juncture point when that information is available to integrate because you're now ready to receive it because all the information is where it is, and everything is all accessible. But when you can receive it in a different kind of way that you're ready to, whether visually, energetically, through the codes of your own existence, it becomes like more, um, well, not more, but then you're embodying it, right?
Yeah.
So cool.
It's just so great to be here with you guys. So, some of my other questions are, what is your mission on Earth this time? And who are you? Who is Sean Bond?
Okay. Yeah. Uh, I am that I am. The mission, a lot, ever changing, expanding, like doing a new form of ascension that is in a harder difficulty and more focuses on truth, love, and then going deeper into the expansions of superhuman love to a higher potential that can only be experienced in a human body in this realm that can't be achieved. That's one of the biggest purposes I read from everyone that I ever read is at the top of their list. Achieve a new level of love that's never been experienced before that can only be achieved in a human body in this realm. Which is interesting. Even if you come close, it's great. Then like reverse engineering abilities is a big one I love. So I like looking into the different superpowers and cities of the ascension path and going into figuring out how they work and the physics of reality and the universe going within esoteric anatomy and knowing myself externally come this planet as understanding what it is, going into school and rising high as I can, And also like a little bit of the Bodhisattva path, which is not ascending fully without also helping everything else as well. And finding different avenues, because it's not exactly super obvious what's the best way to interact with others in like their within their free will, and also the divine laws, and as well as understanding polarity entirely, and understanding suffering and the dark, are a polar mechanic of a chess game that advances evolution even faster than if they weren't here. But then understanding the unnecessary evils that don't need to be here in their core, and why they are the way they are, and finding a cure for them. And then finding the cores of a lot of the roots of unnecessary suffering that can be relieved, and then understand the greater geopolitic and exopolitic chess move, bringing disclosure. The bigger things of this ascension pathway is doing it with a more advanced soul that only the human experience seems to be providing. And then getting it to where it's solidified even past amnesia, the knowingness of what we've learned before. And then even using all these huge amounts of weights and barriers and cocoons of psionic limitation thrust upon us to bring us to like where we're at, just like a paperweight of a body, instead of like the cell phone turned into a paperweight of what it can actually do as a psionically emergent species. And then falling in love with even the cocoons as the butterfly erupts, and then uses that eruption to make itself stronger to survive the coming future events, which will be interesting because of all the chess games of different races that want to get involved in here. Even the evil, which I use, turn our species into a empathy, emotional body amplifying love virus trap that then brings all those other species, and the ones that are, as we're a super hybrid of 10,000 plus races, into our pool of amplified ascension that brings along all these species with us in some way, but not like them parasiting off us as we gain our sovereignty and boundaries, with unconditional love and detachment, but also unity at the same time. There's other things, but let me try to remember. Yeah, and I'm a lot of things. I don't need to really. I am you. I am everything. We're all one. So like the branch of trees, I like getting on all the games, and the rides of the theme park. But yeah, I like empowering everyone.
There's a lot there,
Oh,
Sean.
my goodness. What about you guys? Let me throw the ball. Like, who are you, Siren Wind? What's your purpose here?
Well, I mean, overall, my general fuel of what I felt since I was small, which is, of course, ever continuously unfolding and evolving as we're accelerating so fast, is returning divine love to this memory of all of us, and coming into that unity with each other. I've felt since I was an infant, knowing that everything I was experiencing and witnessing was not true, in the energies, and knowing what the purity and the pure tone energy feels like and is to be so, always felt like the fuel of anything I wasn't understanding in my reality, the density, seeing people, because I could see people's thoughts, and the thought forms and the colors and the waves and the intentions. And I was like, but none of this is actually, and the reason I'm here is actually because of that, to flip it into what actually is true and be able to be a part of it all, which the override and the divine law override that's happening now is, the fuel for the mission is love and unity. And for me, it comes through frequency, sound, tone, light code, and energy, is working with sound, with my voice and my vessel, because I've always felt like it's an if and as and when and how it's tuned, my voice, my vessel, my entire beingness all the way through my pillar, how I'm specifically utilizing it is the transformation that's possible, and knowing, because I was always seeing that as I would talk, the energy would change a certain way. Or as I would tone, I would say a word, and if I said it different, it would change, If I hummed a certain way, the energy would form like this, but if I did it a different way, the color would be different, the shape would be different, the sound would be different, and people would feel it differently, the room would feel different. And so my inspiration is through my experimentation is through sound, tone, and seeing light, like in grade school would see code in Mary's Halo, in the cartoon workbooks, and I was drawing the symbols saying this is the part of the light, this is what's there, that's in like the ethers and in in everywhere, and to me, part of the mission for me and to me and with me is bridging those other dimensional realms that I can perceive all the time in these other octaves, is bridging that into this now, building that into this now through new structures, through sound and tone, into crystals, rocks, geologies, cities, activating lines, cities. You could say dormant, but they're not really, they're not visible physically, but the beings are within. Um, and everywhere. It's just where you're tuned will be what you're seeing, feeling, or perceiving. So these different layers of the mission are all involving frequency, frequency layers, bandwidths, codes, sounds, tones, implementing them into the physical tuned vessel as it's ever shifting and evolving. And in that reflection, reverberating to all others. So they're activating, shifting, reclaiming, restoring dormancies. For example, the books, the art, and it comes through so many ways. And once something is said, once something is thought, it's in the wave. So it's not undone. It's whatever is already connected is still forever rippling. And to me, that's the evolution of what's going on now, is it's continuously accelerating. And I'm watching the mission evolve as we're all swiftly choosing to stand here with ourselves and each other in unification. So involving sound frequencies, activation technology, ancient technology, bridging. I feel like we're all ET technology, we're all ancient technology in our codes. So it's bringing in how we're bringing, remembering, reminding people that we are that. Like we are that too, and how we're utilizing ourselves, ourselves every moment in that ripple is through the layers, implementing the new structures while it's simultaneously collapsing the distortion. And that's what's happening now too, as we're all coming together more amplified in love and unity, is it's collapsing all this stuff that has been on this movie screen that's totally false, but it's helping it collapse through the frequencies of unity and expansion, no matter what, unwavering in each and every pillar. So it's like it's inspiring, but it's also opening other doorways and pathways of what's to come next. Does that answer your question? I know we sort of
Well
went a
said.
few different places. What's that?
Well
No, that was
said.
fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
I was just having a deja vu moment as you were speaking there.
About star system.
No, of having done this before. this interview before. I was having
Oh,
deja vu moment of, yeah. So, Amaria, what is your mission on Earth this time, and who are you?
I'm frequency, light. I've been in a lot of lifetimes, different types of healer, energetically, frequency wise, and pairing those energies together, I'm able to see, like I said before, into kind of the grid framework each person has whenever I work with them. I can see when they have implants or attachments, technologies. A lot of those things I can remove and reverse. Some of them have what's called a residue. And if there's a reason for it to come back or the person keeps dwelling on to pull it back, then I help the person to figure out, what is it that's causing them to be stuck and causing them to attract those things back. Shifting a lot of my memories have had a lot of darkness in them. And I think because the hurt, the trauma that I've experienced through that, rather than becoming bitter, I feel so much compassion,
Can I
especially
just
when
add,
people.
can I just add something to that? And I'm sorry for interrupting, but there's a famous piece of artwork, and I can't remember who did it, but it's called The Scream. And sometimes when I think of my trauma, that's the image that comes up. And I was just seeing that image as you were talking.
Witnessing the torture of children. One of my missions is to help people to heal that inner child inside. That's why I love the Hoffman process so much as one of the NLP modalities that I love, because it's focusing on gratitude and bringing yourself together in that innocence, that childlike person that all of us have, and being able to take your, excuse me, your predator or attacker or whoever it is that has hurt you, especially when it's been someone that you should trust. And a lot of people, even though they don't know what happened in their childhood, it's okay, because I'm able to help them to kind of bring those pieces back together, so that even if you're still feeling that pain just for a moment, you're acknowledging, I wasn't a bad person. This isn't who I am, and I can learn from this. And so my biggest focus and ability is being able to take trauma and help diffuse it in a way that helps the person understand themselves in a way that self-love and being able to stand in their power becomes second nature, so that whenever things are going on around them, they've got the tools to be able to, stand in their power more and not lose it. So I think a lot of times we have so much stress in our planet that people don't know where to go. And they don't realize we can come back to here. It's all right here. We don't need to go outside of ourselves.
And I think, well, for me anyway, I can see that, because you know, I've had a lot of trauma as a child, and when I look at that, I see that as part of the targeting and attacks by the negative agenda working through my, my family and men that were around me at a young age. I see that as very much negative alien energies working through those people. Whether they were aware of that or not, I don't know. Probably not the majority of them, but I think some of them were definitely. And a lot of the time, I think that a lot of the time, I think people don't realize that trauma as a child, well, for me anyway, I see it as targeting at a very young age to put trauma into the star seeds or people that are
Right.
here to help assist humanity wake up, because it doesn't stop us, but it does definitely put a delay on our missions, because we've first, before we can step into our mission, we've got to heal huge parts of that trauma before we can assist anyone else. So I think what you're doing is great. I think what you're all doing is great. And I just wanted to add that little piece in there. So let me see, where are we? Okay, so this question, this is one of my most questions that I'm most looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say and your responses and replies. So my question is, what is the most profound discoveries you've made, either physically, either physical items or spiritually? And I don't know who would like to start.
Ladies first.
I can go again. Kind of carrying from what we were just talking about, being able to step back, even though things can be dark and there are people with dark agendas, being able to look at it as maybe we had some sort of soul contract, even though I don't always like to look at it that way. Sometimes it softens the blow a little bit of what did I need to learn in being tortured like I was. As much as it sucked, and maybe some of those beings enjoyed it, what was I able to take from it that was positive without judging it and being able to dispel and maybe not necessarily disassociate from the pain, but acknowledging it, letting it go, and then discharging the pain so that it's kind of like unplugging a device that keeps shocking you when taking that charge away from it so you don't get that arc anymore. Because we're going to be challenged no matter what we do, and especially when we're doing our mission. So how can we take those negatively charged moments or those shitty moments that we're just like and breathe through it and be able to take that and be stronger without hating it?
I'd like to add something to that actually, because or parallel it really, not add to it for what you said, but something I realized very young, I guess you could say, about that even, is that I remember being like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do that too. I'll do that too. Give me that one. I'll do that. I'll dissolve that. I'll do that. Like, give it all to me because I know I can do it. It's not going to necessarily be the fun thing. Like, they're like, are you sure? You know, you sure you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, I can do it. Like, I'm in. And part of what you're saying for me anyways, in my perspective, is I was saying as I'm in those experiences of distortion, that me coming into those moments and collapsing it is helping the whole, because it's out of harmonic with the alignment of all that is. So if I'm in that experience and I see it and I feel it and I dissolve it, that's helping everyone else. And I actually agreed to do it. But in the moment when it feels the way it feels, you don't really necessarily perceive it that way, right? Because you're like, oh, this is not fun. Who signed me up for this? But I did actually, but I did it for a reason, because so everyone else can remember they're free too. Or how to alchemize it, how to transform it, and then to share about it, to say, yeah, you know what, if you're in that experience, guess what you can do too, or do it in a different way, or come to inspiration of a different way to dissolve it. And that's helping everyone in the reflection, and also the energy that's left in the field, where they can feel that all of that is collapsed or collapsing. So, like some of these other timelines, like lifetimes I've had, that, I even in my younger life of this body, that I'm like, why would I have had that experience? Like, but I don't need the lesson to understand what love actually is, like, why would I have had that experience? But it's because it's for everyone to help collapse all of it, right? And it's like, in the moment it seems like it's between you and this weird energy, or this weird being, or this distortion, or this, some kind of thing that needs to come into right order. But it's so much bigger than that. And when that comes to be known and cleared, how that dissolves through all the multidimensional layers for everyone is so massive. So it's like, not taking anything personal, whatever it is, it's not personal. It's for everyone. And it goes beyond humanity. It's all sentient life everywhere, the ones we don't even know about or are coming to discover we probably can't pronounce, like the systems. It's really, really is evolving everything so exponentially when we come to recognize, like, nothing is personal. And so I guess to parallel what you said is kind of answering the question too, because when I realized that was huge. And even
I
when we
love
get in
that,
those,
not taking it personally. That's
right,
huge. And dispelling it.
it's
I mean, he high
so huge. You're fine. In the moment, like, you get in the moment of the energy and you're like, well, you might for a little, little bit, take that ride and be like, wait a minute, like, this isn't about that. What is really going on? And it's
Mm.
so much more and vast and more important to come back here home, and then come to dissolve, clear all the other shenanigans, because it's not about any of the perception of what's happening in the matter. It's like so much different than that.
How about you, Soma, or before I answer, what's the big discoveries you made?
For me,
Yeah.
oh, um, I'm still dealing with that. Fuck, Sean, you're really psychic. So I'm still dealing with that. It's because and it's not something I really talk about very well. I do occasionally, but it's because I really come from the equivalent of the Bronx. And so for me personally, it's as I get older, it's realizing that I'm so much more than that little girl that was raised in, and it really gets me emotionally. It's I find it very upsetting sometimes, but it's realizing, and as I get older, I realize it more and more and more and more. And I even teach it sometimes, that I was never that little girl that was raised in poverty, that was hungry and cold and distraught with trauma, and the reason for all of that is because of my power and because of my mission, that I chose that soul contract. I chose all of that to empower me. But that is something I struggle with, is coming away from the Bronx dysfunction type energy and the violence and the addiction alcoholic mom and abuse and seeing violence from a very young age, and actually being abused from the time I was in the cot, which I don't remember. But one of my shamanic teachers in Ireland did tell me that I was abused from the cot, but I only really remember from the age of 8, roughly, when I left my body and connected to the Pleiadians through trauma, because I had a guy lying on top of me and I couldn't breathe, so I left my body. But that's one of my most profound things, is that, and David Icke talks about it, or has a phrase that you were never little David or little Tommy or little Sean or little Soma or little Amara or little Syren. You are so much more than that. And a lot of the trauma that that a lot of us have been raised with in those types of dysfunctional families is because of who we are. And so that, for me, I think that is, and even like, being at events like the UFO, this is really personal stuff I'm talking about. But even being like at events like the one we just did where we all met, sometimes I feel like I've an imposter, because what is her name? The one that wrote Harry Potter, she talks about that a lot, where she has this imposter syndrome, that she feels like she doesn't belong, sometimes because of, I feel it sometimes because of where I came from. But yeah, I'm learning to kind of let go of that more and more and more. And um I, yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone has a little bit of imposter syndrome, and it's more than just one thing. Besides, like, not feeling even human, or like you're meant to be here or something because of something is missing, or like, especially if you've experienced other dreams or realms of existence. Oof. And yeah, like, it's kind of just normal. It's an emotion. I think there's a block if it's especially a negative emotion that like blocks you from like stepping to your power or having fear of things, or if you're of deserving or worthiness, then that's like something that's, shows up on the precipice of stuff, like on the edge of like a big change or you stepping into your power. So it's the thing that needs to be transmuted and with love, or getting off you, because it's part of the block being like organs, the kidneys, or some other point of the ego that's has self-defeating programs. But you're doing great, and you're bringing whole forefronts and trailblazing. So I don't feel like that a lot of negative emotions aren't really true. They will express themselves as it sounds, like fear is false evidence appearing real. And you feel it, it's overloading, especially if it's a big amount of it. But you can turn all that into the fuel for your garden of happiness or discovery or bravery or whatever you find. Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess take out my camera. I can show you some stuff. Um, yeah, discoveries. I love discovering stuff.
Before you go on, Sean, thank
Yeah,
you so
go on.
much. How intuitive and psychic of you to ask that question. It's kind of funny, like,
Thank you.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I feel the light coming off you when you're like got a topic in your focus. So I'm like, okay, she needs to stop this. Okay. Um, Anyway, so yeah, a lot of stuff in the spiritual world, discovering like intense amounts, different sonic abilities, like understanding what we're capable of. I've experienced other realms, other places, some good, some bad. So I get the whole dynamic of this isn't all that there is, and there's way much more, and they have different reality rules. Interesting. What are the reality rules here? How do they work? What do you got to do to overcome them? And then that we're ultimately limitless in our capacity, but you got to earn it, and it's earnable. And with that, like finding the belief systems that have limitation is a great way to find out what the parasitic limit belief that holds us back from greater truth. And then a lot with lessons of this reality and moral code and amplifying into that. And then what is super consciousness and experiencing that intense bliss or another state of consciousness or temporary nirvana to like where it's like, oh, blissed out on cloud nine, and so much knowingness too, and on the like writing into the universe, and its capability of knowledge capacity, like with omniscience and other sensory data of exploration. Massive spiritual events that changed my life that are like, wow, this is like, how the Matrix just like, oh, there's just mundane materialist bullshit is what this reality is. And then experiencing past that, I'm like, oh wow, it could get a lot cooler. ET visitation, that there were not just only sentient life, and then going into having conversations and friendship and it being strong. I've even had telepathic conversations with different relic species on the planet at a distance as I learned psychic tracking and tracked them back, including sirens, which I recommend. They are very powerful at siren telepathy. They're beautiful. Give me a lot of telepathic upgrades. Very strong to where it's like, oh, I'm definitely not making this up. So love the name. A lot of beautiful sirens on the planet that are also not are good. So and they're very overpowered in voice, so that's cool. Um, Going and then besides, all that expansion, I go strong into manifestation and abundance and like I got my cat meowing in the background, but don't worry about that. And attracting people and experiences and powerful events and taking me to places, do sacred tours and stuff. And to where like, what the hell can we manifest in me? Kind of like, oh, I trust you. I believe you'll bring some cool shit. And like, yeah, like things that I didn't know existed popping into my reality where it's like, holy crap. And then, and because like some of the stuff I didn't think it was, you will have this background like mental prison on the ego that's like part of the matrix that like, no, that's not true. Yeah, don't believe that, skips. So it's like, is it real? Is it not? And is this stuff planted? Like, so we've been finding ancient alien artifacts in Mexico as an example, which I think they're going to be found in more and more places. Like in Arizona, they got the Egyptian gods and hieroglyphs found in the Grand Canyon. So I think, and there's over 500 pyramids in the U.S. and Ireland. Whew, the magic circles, all there's like hundreds, and they all
Yeah.
lead to different realms.
Yeah.
So there's like some different like hominids races, like the Tuatha De Danann and the elves and like Lord of the Rings kind of thing. So this is like 50 pounds, and this glows in the dark in UV light. So we got like different long skull kind of beings that are being shown coming out of a
Take the
UFO.
captions off, Sean, because it's covering the skull hide
It's a little
caption.
heavy, sorry. Can you see it?
Yes. Yeah, it's
Okay,
beautiful.
cool. So we got multiple planets, including I've found Jupiter and Saturn on different ones, and like plus 9 different planets in the UFO, winged species of kind of long skull, and it's a little hard to see because the dirt's coming off, but there's like a kind of being here, a long skull with a beard and 4 wings coming off it, and like a lotus position with a DNA helix going down it, going into a double eye forest raw kind of thing. Oh my god.
And what is that made of?
It's some type of celestite quartz kind of thing.
Okay.
And we have videos of it being dug up, so and cutting through roots and stuff. Here's a mer person, so the sirens concept, but I think there's multiple types that multiple planets. Yeah, there's like 3 different beings holding to a sphere, which goes into this sphere thing that's being found more and more places, like the Booga sphere. And I'm finding more and more videos of those flying orbs being found all around. And we got a few, and we've got friends that have found metallic Booga, like the ones that levitate Booga spheres, that they were found underground. There's also these crystal ones, and here's it being represented with an ET and a sphere in its hand and a UFO. And I think it's going in contact protocols. This amplifies superhuman intelligence. As soon as we got it, I started feeling smarter. I was getting all these crazy good ideas, but a lot more than that too. And yeah, some different hybridized races, because there's different types some made by ETs like the crystal skull, some made by hybrids of humanoids in them, and then different generations, like you can see with the different eyes here. This cool like headdress. Oh my god, these are heavy. Okay, here's another kind of ET looking hybrid.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything else that needs to be shown here. And some of them we're finding with dragons. So here's a dragon as an example. And like Quetzalcoatl-like species, which has more than just one. And we found like one of the Quetzalcoatl portals goes to a different realm that has a bunch of species, and they're like, founder races. There's light, dark, and neutral. They create realities that don't need bodies, but sometimes they have a body. Some have like giant bodies. This one is also in the Russian alien species book leaked by the KGB. The one that looks like it is called the Shining Ones, but there's multiple of those, including in the Tuatha De Danann, of where they show up shining and Greek gods and other stuff. But this one glows in the dark UV too. Very nice species here. Every species has some dark beings, but I usually find those are like enslaved by the dark system or possessed in a faction that branches off. So yeah. Then and their planet is missing, and they're fertile, because when a species gets disconnected from their planet, their fertility drops. Sometimes they revert to cloning. And Earth and the human race have the cures for their fertility, so they can expand into that. And a lot of these objects, as more people like yourselves will be finding things like this, and probably they call the people to be caretakers. And like, you won't, the Earth like is a hologram. It shifts around, and if it doesn't like you, you won't find anything. If it does, it approves you, and you get the objects and the spirits of it. Like you, it just shifts around. You find more. I like, not to brag or anything, but when they usually go, they find like 1, 2, 3 objects. When I went, they were crying because they were like finding like 10. And also the last trip I went, I found the most. But I also do a lot of prayers and ceremony and trade and commerce and goodness and resolving evil when I go, and I just keep asking what like amplifies the whole thing. And there's all these, sorry, the camera's low. There's all these codes on them of different types, and I think that's like sun and moon maybe, but I don't know. So people will be tuned into these objects. I love hearing the interpretations. There's
I'm going to do some channeling for you privately.
Please.
And also Trevor Grassi.
These
Yeah.
are so cool. I would love to see some pictures with a UV light on them in the dark. That'd be so fun.
Sure, I'll bring up. I can do my share screen in a bit if you want. And I can show you the videos of those. So yeah, here's these mummies, and they're finding objects with Egyptian hieroglyphs and Sumerian hieroglyphs, and Sumerian gar or kind of looking thing, and these long skulls of various types, many type, like in different dimension, shapes, lengths, all that. This guy is very powerful. There's a lot of these connect to the species, so you can like use like a little telephone and talk to the being they're venerating. Some are just made by humanoids or the hybrids or the ET species. Either way, they have like a lot of power and abilities and energy they emit. Like even this coffin just emits like fortress safety off defense energies. to
Super
protect
cool.
the being within. And some of them have these wings. So you're like, oh, what is that? Is that symbolic or something? It could be a status thing, though we're finding ones without wings and without feet in spirit body and like other forms. So it could be literally just showing them up with wings, which would be cool. UFO, planets. Yeah, and then some are finding actual bones of ETs, but that is sketchy subject because people are dying over that, so be careful. But these, if you get, don't be afraid because so many people are, there are thousands being found. So they can't really stop them anymore. And they're just, you know, when they take them to the museum, they just say, oh, thank you. And then they just put them in the basement. That they're automatically ranked as modern when they have UFOs and ETs on them. They don't even acknowledge this stuff. There's like spheres and cubes, like I was saying, being found, different things we found, like we're calling these tesseracts, but some have temporal or spatial tech. This one more upgrades like a DNA in an interesting way.
I have a question for you, Sean.
Sure.
Have you had any of these x-rayed?
Yeah, some of them have been x-rayed, not ours that we have on us, but I'm forming a family with a bunch of people that are also forming different museums, and they're getting all kinds of testing done. This is also the symbol that was in the golden age of the combination of Mars, Venus, and Saturn that were much closer in the sky in conjunction and emitted a bunch of rare plasma. It's brought up by the Thunderbolt project, and it's on a lot of different symbols, things in carvings and stuff. Most of the ETs we're finding are positive or neutral, as in they're venerated for the people liking them. Though there are, you know, some we're finding that have scary looks to them, which go into like they're probably more of caution. So there's again Egyptian gods and Sumerian gods, and so there's all these different things being found, lower G gods.
That
They give
skull, the
cool
first one that you
upgrades.
showed was really cool. I just was gonna tell people I held that when we were at the conference, and it felt like coming home. It was really interesting, just like really calming. And it was funny because I had heard some other people, because there was the little spat that happened on stage. I won't get into that. Things happen. I'm not gonna judge either way. I love a lot of the people that were in that. Other people I don't have an opinion on. I'm not gonna form an opinion. But somebody was saying, "Oh, it was pulled out on stage and then that stuff happened." Well, the energy I felt on that didn't feel like it was trying to cause issues. And so I'm thinking it just might be trying to bring things to light. Like, you know, let's show more authenticity. Let's bring out, you know, and then if people have arguments or just, how would you say, disagreements
Disagreements?
on certain
Yeah.
things, there could be better ways that we could approach those things. And so I look at it like that, as if that brought something out on stage, well, we needed to see that in public to see, hey, we need to kind of step back a little bit and say, okay, that's an interesting perspective. Let's see what everybody else feels, and let's how can we, hear each other out and understand each other, because I'm sure that each one of us have things that we don't fully agree with or set with, but
Mhm.
that's okay. Maybe we don't fully understand a certain area, but that skull has some power to it. It was amazing to hold. Really cool.
But
Yeah,
here's what I think. I think we don't have, so me and my partner is, I think, is a good example, Dennis Mulcahy, where that there a lot of the time we don't agree on stuff, but it doesn't really matter. Like it it doesn't matter. We just let it go. Like we don't home in on it and make it a big issue or a problem. Like, it doesn't matter if we got different perspectives. He sometimes doesn't agree with the channeling or the things that the Pleiadians say. He has a different perspective sometimes, but we need to let stuff go on and not hold on to it like a dog with a bone or a rag that needs to be like, just let it go.
Or as we've seen in multiple areas, not just in our own community, but like the backlash, if someone's not agreeing with something, just taking immediate offense and just getting defensive and angry instead of saying, okay, right now I don't feel settled. There's something about this discussion that's bothering me. Maybe we can elaborate some more. What is it, that you believe? Like, why is it that you're feeling this way? And can you explain your perspective of it? Because tomato, there's so many different terms for one energy. There's so many different terms for one belief system, and that's okay. I think understanding those languages and those terms really helps us have that greater understanding. And so I feel like that skull was brought to you, Sean, to help with unity, because I feel like it's got something to do with unity with that thing. It's really cool.
I would just quickly like to add something, and I wasn't going to share this publicly, but I may as well. So when that incident happened, I I don't think it was anything to do with any of the objects that Sean brought. But when that incident happened, I looked across just after it happened. I looked across at the back and of the room, and I won't say who it was, because that wouldn't be fair of me, or maybe it would, going on Drago's perspective to out people. But I looked at so maybe in the future I will, but I looked across at the back of the room and there was a guy with curly hair, and really curly hair, like blonde curly hair, and kind of superimposed on his face. I could see like an alien face. I wasn't looking at him. I was looking at the face that was superimposed over him, and it looked a little bit like a gray, and it didn't feel good. And that was,
You're actually not the first person bringing that up. There were several of us that felt like he wasn't human. And I
yeah,
know who you're talking about.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
seemed like he was nice enough, but yeah, there was something there that I was just like, huh,
Yeah,
okay,
some
I'll just watch.
non-humans will show up to these events. I've
Sorry,
Right,
Sean,
right.
say
with
that again. I didn't
some
hear.
non-humans will show up to these events. I've been to like one that was like big. There was like 1,000 people at, and people were telling me about like they're right next to them. There's a person that kind of looked a little strange, and then they had a conversation, and then they ended up saying that they were ET, and then they were, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, prove it," and then telepathic. So like, and then it's like, "Can you hear?" Yeah, and then oh my God, and then yeah, there's also spooks that show up. Oh, yeah. And yeah, and thanks everyone for holding the space really well during the conference, because there's like, drama demons that try to come in and mess with people, and a lot of it's done through misinterpretations, which I've heard like the reforming of the two groups that were in an argument before they come together and like, you said that. It's like, no, I did. Well, yeah, you did. Wow. And then it was like it's complete different stuff, but and yeah, I think truth is amazing, and it's one of the big ways to ascend. But in order to grade in our truth out of the limitation we're held in that we aren't aware of, we have to have unity. So unity is a little bit more important in these kind of venues, and to hear it out. And if people say things that others do or don't agree with it, I trust you all to eventually filter it out. So we hear it. And like sometimes people will get triggered by certain things because of their truth that they hold, and they don't want to hear it. Well, just understand. So there's like a lesson with everything. But loved the event. It was a cool little lesson. And for those that are like wondering like about these artifacts and if it's them or not and all that, I'm open to like hearing that too, because I don't want these artifacts to hurt people. But I went into I do exorcism, clearing, depossession, purification, capturing negative entities. Most of the things found on these beings from the conquistadors in the Vatican, mostly having to do with false light, stolen parts of angels with a demon around it, and then they make this grid system that tries to dominate the world, and especially when they're invading in Mexico, they dominate all the places of power and the objects of power, and then are funneling off them. So that's mostly what I've been clearing off it, but bringing everything into like a space, a sped up time, then teach lessons in moral code and do no harm and take no shit. And if any negative being is involved, I cleared it. And if a being is possibly doing negative things, I have like binding chains that like bring it to like a step back. Most of the beings in here are really positive. They're actually a threat to the Luciferian grid thing. So that impressed me a lot. Like the crystal grid are like taking down a lot of the really dark inverted
That is really cool
systems.
to witness.
And yeah, and feel free to bring up anything to people. I want these not to do any harm to people, but they have done a lot of good. And for me, a lot of healing, and I get crazy awesome dreams from them, like levitating and flying around. Some of the best ones I've had, and telekinesis and teleporting dreams. They give huge upgrades in your head. So a lot of intelligence. So I love them, but yeah, feel free everyone to have caution with these. It's a thing of when you're doing commerce with other species too, where not to be racist, because every species has good or bad. Even the Draco, I've found some good ones where their empathy has been turned on, as we're the cure to them. Being, or psychopaths, really, you can turn like
I like
sadness and
that you bring
suffering.
that up. That's so
Sadness
important
and
to bring up.
suffering, you can collapse into a portal in the center of your heart and send it back to the being that it deserves. Like a lot of the dark beings get rid of their suffering and put it onto the population, especially their victims and things that are a threat to them. So we can collapse that and get good at redistributing that suffering that we don't deserve back onto the beings that deserve it, and then compress it, give it love, and turn it into an emotional body, an empathic enhancer, so we can give the cure to psychopaths to become more empathic. And then they have Ug's dog either stop doing what they're doing and the suffering lessens, or if they're doing evil shit, it increases, as that's the last teacher they're usually going to willing to look at
Right.
and learn from. And yeah, all these ETs are like have agendas and all that thing, but some of them align with us, and a lot of them we have their DNA, and they see us like a garden and are kind of children, offspring of them to nourish. Because if we grow really strongly, then our abundant growth and ascending affects them, and it solves a lot of their problems. So they want a lot of them that know that and know what we are at a greater level. Usually like to do have us do well. It's the ones that don't exactly know what we are and are either parasitic or predatory and just like, oh, I'll take your pet or eat you or some shit, that you want to put a lot of boundaries up. And then some have some kind of neutral, they're bringing some drama with them, maybe, or some targeting from something on them. And have forgiveness and figure out like what they have going on, and then make it so you can get every species to realize you're a net benefit, and that you're a benefit by existing them. So then they reaffirm their to show you reverence and respect, and then you don't treat them like gods, you treat them like another consciousness, and you can engage in filtered, audited commerce so that you can figure out what we all can grow from in helping each other. But that's my. Oh, and if you want, I
Thank
can
you.
share my screen while you guys are talking, and you can just go into whatever subject you want, and I'll just show you some artifacts.
Well, can we keep that for part 2? Because I really have to go and eat. And I do have questions that I never got to answer. So if we could do maybe part 2 within 7 days, would that be okay?
Yeah, do that.
But before because I'm diabetic, so I have to go and eat. So my apologies to you and everyone. But let's schedule a part 2, and just keep it for us and the what the things you were going to show just now, and the questions I didn't get to, and no doubt there'll be more questions as well. But before we go, please will you share where people can find you, and do send me your links and I will put them up on the description box.
Go ahead.
I don't
You're
have my
so
website
humble.
memorized.
Go ahead.
It's kind of got a weird link, but I'll send you the website. My email is heartmindexpressions@outlook.com. Similarly, I do a lot of similar things that Sean does as a psionic. I would actually like to have some private combos with Sean, because I really feel like we've had a lot of very similar training and missions in the
Sure.
programs. And so it's really interesting just hearing him like, dude, this is so cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that with all of you. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Your minds.
Well,
Go ahead, Syren.
oh, aside from the link I'll share in just a second, I wanted to say something about what you were discussing with the artifacts. I've been getting led to these different areas here where I am, and there's these structures and pyramids, really, and petroglyphs that I'm getting guided to restore different things. So I'd like to talk to you about that sometime, because they're literally like, people don't know that it's there, and it's like, no, it's right here, it's right here, it's right here, come find it. And I'm finding some interesting things. So like,
Really
if
cool.
you want to talk, yeah, talk about it sometime. But if you want to find me and my interesting services, you can find those at intergalacticenergyhealing.com, which is long, but I put it in the chat box. And it's INNER, galactic energyhealing.com. And that's where you can find all the like frequency sessions, tools, books, art, and discover all different other kinds of things too. So this is so fun. I just want to say thank you before I pass the mic to the next person, that this is really expansive what you've created here, this space, Soma, and I thank you and everyone that showed up. So beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
For being here. I'm Sean Bond, founder of Sonic League, sonicleague.com, as well as sonicleague@gmail.com. You can reach me for like trip inquiries about the Sacred Mexico trips. I do sessions, clearing, healing, purifications, depossessions, unlock abundance, and all kinds of cool abilities, workshops, and yeah, YouTube, Sonic League, and a lot of superhuman abilities demonstrated there that downloaded the subconscious. You can then reverse engineer yourself. I'd love to hear what you guys get in codes when you start like watching that stuff. It's because it's being suppressed. It's hard to get those videos. A lot of them are being deleted, unfortunately. And then yeah, bring out the alien artifacts. So feel free, you can contact me if you want to do interviews or all that stuff, and we can go into SSP and remembering tech, because that's what I did it as a presentation for the full disclosure thing. Big memory activation. It felt like giving birth. I was like so much love. I was like, oh my god. It's like some cosmic remembering baby thing is existing now. For the great remembering. And then yeah, full disclosure now, fulldisclosuremovement.org, I believe, is where people can eventually get the the conference downloaded for things like with Soma, and you guys are probably going to be doing big things with that too, in next conferences, and I'd love to hear more about you guys' stuff. So I'm going to be researching your thing. So if you guys got any YouTubes, please also put that in this video after I do my spiel. And yeah, we're doing sacred tours like in Egypt, Japan, England. I did one in Ireland a bit ago, so I'll be doing that again. So hopefully someone of me can like sync up on that. It'll be cool. Little like Tuatha De Danann, Arthurian, Merlin, all kinds of secret ancient history things. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm also on Facebook and various other social medias. Soma, how do people reach you? And then if you guys got YouTubes, please.
Well, my website is somaarah.love. Um, and I mostly use Substack, Soma Arah. I tend to get really censored and shadow banned on all the others except Substack. So that's my main go-to, where you'll find everything I do is I put it through, I share it on that platform. I did an interview a couple of years ago with Sasha Stone around COVID time, and it was on YouTube for 4 minutes and then it was taken down. So I tend not to use them that much. Just Substack is my main one. Let me know when you're coming to Ireland, and
I will.
I feel like this is just the beginning of so much with so many people. And I really do feel like I started off saying this at the beginning of the podcast, that it feels like a movement to me that is growing. It doesn't just feel like a UFO conference or an event. It feels like a movement where we're just gathering and coming together and reconnecting, reestablishing, remembering, reigniting each other. And I really am planning to do some channeling for you and Trevor, whether that's together or separate, I don't know. But to help to find some things. So yeah, let's talk about that and the event in Ireland that you're planning. And if you send me your links, I will share all of them, including the YouTube ones. And lots of love to you all, and I'll see you very soon for part 2. Yeah. Okay, I guess bye for now.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you all so much. Okay, bye for now, guys.